All right, beautiful. I want to appreciate you guys for joining this class today. We've actually gone far. Once we are through with what we have to cover up this weekend and next weekend, we should be looking at start taking AWS project, and the minimum project we would take would be 6. And the projects had already been lined up. What we'd have next week will be Elastic Beanstalk. We'll talk about Docker, where we'll look at the ECS and the EKS and FatGet and Cloud Formation. If we can cover up within that week, though we have seen Route 53 as we started, or then we'll talk about organizations, AWS organizations. And after that, we know that we are done with the training. It's time for us to now start doing hands-on, integrating different projects, responding to organizational challenges, coming up with architectural view, and engineering the solutions for them. So yesterday we saw security group, and we talked about it. We provisioned it. We went into web application firewall. We talked about it. We talked about AWS Shield, all right, and which is another security services that AWS has for web applications. And we looked at how it can be integrated with the WAF. We saw the architecture for WAF and went on to CloudWatch. We introduced CloudWatch, went on to do little provisioning on how it interacts. And we also saw CloudTrail talking about the compliances, talking about security and governance. And by logging API activity, we said the CloudTrail becomes our go-to service for us to be able to store, monitor, and analyze records and user activities. Okay, so today is a little bit different. We want to look at application integration. And the first thing we have on our list is the simple queue service. Okay, 6 of them we're going to be seeing. We'll look at the SQS, which is a simple queue service. We'll talk about the simple workflow service, which is the SWF. And we'll talk about the simple notification service and move on to Lambda and the API gateway step function. We may not be able to do hands-on today for all the 6, but I'm sure that we should be able to cover up the SQS, SNS, and Lambda while we provision them. So now let's go. Simple queue services. So what is it? It's a fully managed message queuing service that enables decoupling. That's the catch-up word. It enables decoupling of a distributed application by transmitting message between different components. It ensures reliable communication and fault tolerance in microservices architecture. Now, the word, like I said, decoupling. Peradventure, we have a particular, a single, how do I put it? We have a single app that receives message, at the same time sends the message to the next function. That seems like it's not decoupled, okay? For where we have 2 different applications, one is requesting for processing file, and the processing of the file is being carried out by another application. That's like decoupling. But in a place where these 2 things are integrated, it's not being decoupled. While you decoupled, it enables us to have like a fault tolerance because it's segmented. Services have been broken down into smaller and little aspect of it. So that is about that. We'll look at what we can do about the provisioning of it. Then the next one is the simple workflow service. Like AWS wanted to be able to coordinate and manage various tasks in a kind of complex workflow. By coming up with the simple workflow services, they were able to build applications that involve multiple steps and components, and to be able to control them from a single pocket and track, and at the same time handle errors. So with it, you now know all the functions, all the activities that you are set out to carry out in the in the system. So this is what enables you to do that, because you may miss steps and your work may not be coordinated, but with a simple workflow service, you can actually coordinate all the required functionalities, services, and provisioning engineering that you are set out to do. Okay, the next one is a simple notification service. For activities that are being carried out in the system, you may want to pass information to certain functionalities, certain users. Okay, so this enables us to fully manage the messaging service that the distribution of enable us to distribute message for the variety of recipients. Like if we can send emails to them at the same time, if the SMS function is what is being taken, we will do that. If it is HTTP endpoint, that's that, and many more can be handled. Once we start the provisioning, you can see what we can do in there. It's pretty simple, and it makes our work as solutions architects and cloud engineers seamless. So the next one is the Lambda function. We've been talking about EC2s, EC2s, like our virtual servers, but the Lambda is a little bit different. The Lambda is a serverless compute service that lets us, run code without provisioning or managing servers. That's to say, AWS handles everything. When you hear serverless, it means we, the engineers, or the customer, will not touch anything. AWS manages it from the back end. So we can also trigger some kind of functions in response to events and pay only for the compute time used. So now let's take a look at some AWS functions that are integrated with the Lambda function. Okay, by clicking this, we should be able to land into a page that can show us that. Beautiful. Wow, this is glorious. Now you can see that with Lambda, we'll be able to work with Amazon DynamoDB as a database. DynamoDB is a database. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Then now Amazon API Gateway also can be integrated with Lambda. These are functions that works with Lambda, and the Amazon Cloud Front also through the edge locations can work with Lambda. You can see Amazon CloudWatch also, because the various activities that can be carried out in Lambda, the CloudWatch should be able to look at the matrices, at the same time come up with logs. By coming up with logs, we can still have messages sent to some recipients, all right? And at the same time, those messages can be placed in a queue. Can you see that? So Lambda can integrate it with the Amazon SNS and Amazon SQS, and also Amazon Cognito. Why Cognito? For everyone that would have access into the system, their user IDs and so on and so forth can be managed through this Cognito. So Lambda sits down there to have all these being integrated. Now the Amazon Event Bridge, this is also there. It would want you to now know when things are going off and things are going not in the desired way, and it can be integrated with Lambda. Now the Amazon S3, all the activities carried out can be placed in Lambda, or from the S3 we can move to Lambda, and from Lambda move to another S3 bucket. So that is how it works. When we start doing the hands-on, lots and lots of these we're going to be doing, and trust me, you would enjoy the class. Okay, so this is about that. And now let's go back to take the two other that is remaining. Now we have the API gateway and the step functions. Okay, what is the API gateway? For instance, we want to create and manage APIs for our application. This is what enables us to create and manage APIs. It allows us to be able to create a RESTful API and handle requests and responses, and also perform some tasks like authentication, caching, and throttling. That is that. So in the future, we would be able to do more of this as we go around the provisioning of the projects which we have outlined. Then the last in our list here is the step function. All right. So the step function is a serverless workflow service that helps us to run and visualize multi-step applications It enables us to coordinate distributed application by usually arranging and tracking the execution of the various components. It looks like the simple workflow services. Now, but these simple workflow services integrate lots of services, all right? But this now in a single application, that is what we're doing, okay? All right, so that is that. Let's quickly go on to want to see what we can do by going into the SQL, the Amazon dashboard, to talk on the SQS, okay? This is the dashboard, all right? You click on services like we have always done. It's a simple one. It's not going to take you much of your time. You but have to take things one at a time. But trying to keep everything simple, I would say, let me say simple. All right? Simple queue. I know my network is not as fast as your network, but we're going to get there. Your patience is demanded here. So this is simple queue services. That's the SQS. This is for us to manage message queues. You know what queue is all about, right? How the order you want team messages to be sent to recipients. That is about that. Okay, before we go on, can I get the feedback if you are still here? Somebody can kindly unmute and say, we are here. Hello, Benjamin, are you here? Are you here? Is the network disturbing? I want to assume that we are here. All right. Let's wait for it to load. It's taking its time. Quite unstable network today, but we shall overcome. It's just a little of our patience that is required. So that is about that. Okay, so if this brings us here, let me see, there's an SQS that was created and disabled, right? Let's go to action, and it was deleted, but I want to go back and confirm that before we can now start moving on. What happened to the network? The network is quite slow. Very slow. This is slow, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's see, confirm. So we delete. No, it's taking its time now to be sluggish. Okay, so getting in here, this is the dashboard, the first pane that you could have seen. You can see that the TMS SQX has been deleted successfully. So now let's create. We go in here to create. But before that, let's see. Okay, let's create. Now, two options are staring at us. We have the standard and the FIFO. Now, FIFO is an engineering term, and process term where you say first in, first out delivery. That is what the first to get in there should be the first to be attended to, which means the first message that arrives should be the first message that should be sent. That is an order. Now we have the standard, is it at least once delivery, message ordering is in preserved. Okay, so at least once delivery, best effort ordering. You don't want to now start duplicating things. So let's take the standard and move down to the name. All right, so in the name area, you may want to say Benjamin. All right, SQS, Benjamin SQS. Oh, that is great. All right, so now when you see this dashboard here as configurations, these are things that you can, provision. Now we have visibility timeout here. That shows that if we peradventure have it configured, this is the timeout allowance that is being given to read. So for instance, you may want to change it to, okay, maybe let's say 31 seconds or minutes, let's say seconds. All right, so the delivery delay, you don't want any delay, you want it you want low latency, so you leave it at 0 seconds. The message wait time, 0 seconds. Now message retention period, the message retention period is very important for those that will be going in for the solutions architect, certain solutions architect associate. Now they may want to know if you have an understanding of the duration that messages can be retained. Okay, so it is between 1 minute to 14 days. All right, 1 minute to 14 days. So in this case, I want to take 5 days. All right, you leave it at that. So the maximum message size is in kilobytes, which is 256 kilobytes. So you may want to leave it as 56, for instance, if it is the maximum you're looking at. And so that is about that. So it's very, very understanding. Now we have encryption. If you want an encryption of the messages, you can enable it or you leave it. For, let's say we disable it and we don't want that because this is a demo class. Then under the access policy, you may want to take basic. So use a simple criteria to define the basic access policy where you want only the queue owner to see it. That is okay, or only the specified AWS account. So once you have this ticked, that shows that you now have to now look at the users that you have created in the system and now start giving them permissions to be able to access the message. All right. So, but I won't leave everything at this level of only the queue owner. Now define who can receive message from the queue. Okay, only the queue owner, only the specified AWS account. Same thing you're going to get in here. You do that. So we want to, because we're demonstrating, we would be the one to send message and receive message ourselves. So now get down there, okay, deliver, retrieved, allow policy, disable it, and what else? Okay, all right, let's get it. Let's get down. Okay, it's disabled. What about third party, the dead letter queue? Have it disabled, and let's get down to create queue. Now you say create queue. All right, so this is what you have done. You have created a new queue called the Benjamin SQS. All right, so now let's take a look at it. They want to get in there and then we see it. Oh, this is beautiful. So let's see. We have it highlighted, or we may want to get in, but let's say send and receive message. It brings us here. We cannot say we have a message. Let's say Benjamin, he's a very wonderful what should we say? He likes asking questions. Benjamin likes asking questions, and I want you to know that. Benjamin likes asking questions. And if you're not careful, it throws you off balance. So you now have this as the message. What would you do? You say send message. Remember, we told ourselves that we're going to be the ones receiving the message, right? So the message has been sent. We may want to go in here and check for the message sent. So that is requiring us, by clicking on poll for message. Okay, you can see it here. It's a poll for message. Now, showing this is the message. This is the message here. We have the size is 31 bytes and we have one message. So let's take a look at it. By clicking, we will see the message. Now you see Benjamin likes asking questions. So that is about that. So if peradventure we have lots of messages organized, the simple queue service can organize them the way they should be organized. Okay, so let's say done. All right, done. Well, let's go upstairs and try to delete the message. Let's delete the message, not keeping. So you come to this place and you say delete. Delete. The message is gone. Beautiful, beautiful. So we may still want to get into this place where we can see Benjamin and get it off, which is the Benjamin SQS. So without wasting our time, let's say delete. It wants us to confirm if that is what we are intended for. So confirm. Yeah, I'm confirming it. Say delete. So that is about the standard. Let's see the FIFO. Remember, the FIFO is about first in, and first in, first out. So let's say create first in, first out. That is about that. Everything would remain the same. But now you're gonna, now imagine we have the name convention, Benjamin, SQS, FIFO. Each time you work with FIFO, something will be required of you. If you want to name it, you must, like for the time that we took Benjamin, we say Benjamin, right? Like this. And the difference between the FIFO and the standard, yeah, FIFO will require us to put .FIFO. That's how you differentiate it. So you go down there, you can see there's a FIFO queue setting, content based on duplication, all right? And high throughput FIFO queue. So you are organizing them the way you would want them to operate or to go. So duplicate scope queue, and so on and so forth. So you move on, and you may still be able to create a message group if that is what, and organize it in a way that it's going to go per queue, which means every queue being created must be observed in that direction. Once it's exhausted that, before it moves to the next one, the encryption could be disabled. But if it's what you don't want a man in the middle to access, you get it done. So everything remains the same, and then you create. So that is on that. So we now go back to SNS. SNS, this brings us to SNS as we are through with SQS. So we say simple notification. Well, let's wait a little. I believe the notification would have to pop up. All right. So can I get the feedback from those that are in the house? Raphael, are you here? Can you hear me? Who can hear me? All right. Still assuming, because none has sent me a message that we can hear you. Okay, so this is how it is. All right, the SNS is a simple notification service. All right, oh, beautiful. I can get a message from a man Chukuma asking us to carry on. Okay, so once you get into the dashboard, you come here, you would request topic. Okay, now in the default, we have a CloudWatch alarm topic for the simple notification service. But if you want to create a new one, now you go in here to say create. And remember, we talked about the first in and first out. So I would recommend you use the standard for the sake of this demo and get down there to want to enter Raphael SQS. All right. Then if you have a topic, you give it a topic name, but okay, let's leave it as optional as it is. We'll go down there. If you want to encrypt it, you encrypt by coming to this place. You choose what you want to do. The toggle here for the encryption. You enter the kind of key, the KMS key required, and hold on a little. Okay, there's a default key already shown, but I don't want to encrypt anything. So I'm closing that. All right. Then if you still want to, whatever thing that you want to, but I want to suggest that you leave everything as default as they are and say create topic. Okay. But let's take a look at the access policies and if there are things there for us to explain. All right. Okay, so we got the basics. We got the basic, but at the same time, as you're getting in the JSON, he's putting up the configuration. Okay. At the same time, so now let's see for a publisher, only the topic owner, that's the policy. If you that can publish, most times is always good like that. But when you're working with users and you want them to have some kind of privilege, you may want them to access it by going down to say everyone or only the specified account. And remember, you must specify those accounts, which is pretty easy. So now we say only the topic owner. I love to keep things simple. So if we want to send a message, say who would receive, we may say everyone. Or another option for only specified account. So let's say for now, okay, only the topic owner. Let's leave it at that. So all you need to know is that you should be able to send message to whoever that you want to send notifications to. Okay, so we're going to click create topic and move right into the subscription part of it. I think if there's a competition of whose network is the slowest in the world, I'm going to be gathering the board, I'm going to be the winner. Okay, so we have this, and if we want to publish message, it goes right in here by the same thing that we did while we were working with the SQS by clicking publish message. And now I want us to come a little bit down so we can create subscription. We say come down here to create subscription. Okay, the ARN is showing here. The protocol, I will say, let's choose email if that's where you want your message to go to. If you want it to hit the AWS Lambda, that is if you want SQS to receive it so it can keep it in order, you pick that. And so for now, let's take, if it's an SMS you want, you take that, and that will require you to enter the phone number. So, but not email. All right, I'm taking the email. Okay, they said endpoint. So an email is required. Yeah. So whose email am I gonna use now? Okay, let's say, okay, I'm gonna be careful. I want to use which email is open here. Okay, timexola@gmail.com. All right, let's pick this guy and see. Timexola@gmail.com. Okay, remember what is being said here. After your subscription is created, you must what? Confirm. So we go on to create subscription. Yeah. Okay, that is beautiful. Okay, let's go and see it, which is being created. Okay, I may want to come to topic and see, okay. See Raphael. And you see that pending confirmation. That's to say that we're going to dive right into the email and do a little bit confirmation of the message that has been sent in there. Okay, it's still loading. The network is taking time. Let's check the spam. So, depending when it to drop. Let's go back to school. So that is about that. If we were being able to have it on time, we could have just gone to now start publishing messages. But now we cannot publish message until we have it confirmed and take off this pending confirmation. So we publish messages and you see how the notifications are sent by going in here. Come in, let me go back to confirm. Oh, the email address selected is pretty wrong. It's pretty wrong. So I'm going to delete it. Something is missing here. No, I think we should be able to edit it, right? Is it not possible? We should be able to edit it, right? Yeah, let's edit it and get it right. Let's give it a time. A little more time. All right. Edit. Edit. The T is missing. So here now we didn't even specify that 100 topics can be taken there. Okay, let's include it. Like they said, maximum 100, but I want to keep things simple, just 5 topics. All right, so save changes. So we now go to the front and see how we can we still have not been able to edit that, but we should be able. Let's go down carefully to see where we can. These are other delivery policies. Okay, the preacher will not be tempted to do something else. So let's get back there and get it off by deleting it. Let's say delete. Delete me. Bah. It's off. Come in here, create a new topic. Create a new topic, standard, our own option. We give it a name, Raphael. Another nice guy. SQS. Let's say 5. Okay, let's give it a topic. Let's say EC2. The services, activities, services, activities. Activities. Somebody is saying, where are all those people crying to be, God bless you, trying to start the class? Okay. Now we have this name here. The create topic. Yeah. So we're going to go down to create subscriptions. So we can enter the email that we would want. So email is what we are taking, right? We take the email, we go down to placing the right email, which is Zola at yahoo.com. No, Gmail. Please keep the email safe for me, okay? Even if you know how to break into email, please keep it safe for me. I'm just a friendly young guy. Okay, now we say create subscription. And it's telling us we still have to go confirming it. So a message could have been dropped in there. Let's go to the topic and see it, if it's still showing us pending. Pending. So we get into it and service activity. Oh, beautiful. You see the title service activities just as we gave it. So now you say confirm subscription. Okay, subscription confirmed. Okay, we'll have to get back in and reload. Reload for and check if we are good. Beautiful. The ID is showing here and it's confirmed. So what next? We have to test a message, right? Right, we now come in here to say publish message. In the publish message, we say EC2 activity. Time to leave is optional, so let's leave it. Then the message body itself, we will take identical payload for all delivery protocols. And now we're getting a message. I really, right, let's write it down. I really want all our trainees to be serious with their classes. Trust me, the future is bright. Do not give up or give in. All right, this is just a kind message from my heart. So we get down. If we have attributes, some kind of descriptive or characters that we may want to use in describing it, we pick it. If you say it's a string array, you pick that a string. All right, so let's just leave everything. the way they are and say publish message. Loading. Beautiful. The message has been published, right? Yeah. Let's get him back there to see. Wow, EC2 activities. It's showing I really want all our trainees to be serious with their classes. Trust me, the future is bright. Do not give up or give in. Wow, this is so pathetic, you know, this is so encouraging. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to kindly get in here and see how we can have that deleted. Clean up, clean up. That's all we ought to do, always cleaning up. Raphael, we're going to take Raphael out to delete me. Delete me. Okay, so you see, that is about that. Lots of other things and you can do. And then you have them integrated with SNS, you know, SQS, just the way I showed you the Lambda function and how you can have it integrated with lots of services. So having said that, okay, let's move into Lambda. We'll have to provision Lambda. But before that, let's still look at other services that can be integrated with it like we talked about. So let's click here and say open. Now it brings us to all the functions and services. So the Lambda functions can be integrated with all these, put together in the Amazon platform. So you see that Lambda can be integrated with SNS and SQS. At the same time, Amazon Cognito, as long as you're talking about user authentication, identity, and so on and so forth, it can be there. If logs are generated, it can go into the, if CloudWatch logs are generated, it can go into, you know, an S3 bucket. At the same time, database is there, the DynamoDB, all right? The other day, I was telling us that the way we have Lambda to the EC2, that's how we have DynamoDB to the RDS. Okay, so we have the cloud front, all right? So, and then the Amazon CloudWatch. So this is beautiful. So let's see what we can do about Lambda. All right, let's get into Lambda. Oh, Lambda, where we have to run code without thinking about servers. The serverless. We want to run code without thinking about servers. Okay. So let's get in. Uh-oh. It's loading. We just have to be patient. So what do we do? Before we move on, we have to see certain other things here. You see that it works with the code, and you can see the languages, .NET, the Go, Java, Node.js, and Python, Ruby, and custom runtime. All right. So let's say we have Python, and now what we have in here, the message is saying in the Lambda handler and hello from Lambda. That is the information which we have here. So before we go on to now start creating function, let's see how it works. So now I'm going to say run. You can see that it say hello from Lambda. All right. So Having done that, we may want to take a look at the Lambda response, how it responds to events. Let's see, you click it here. Can you see how it works? You're seeing it. For instance, it's scaling. If I have to increase it, you see how it's scaling. All right. So as the demand is going up, it increases. And at the same time, if I say, I want to, this is streaming analytics, and this is images, this video camera or picture. If I hit this, it goes into the data processing and goes to the Lambda. And one thing that you have to know about how it scales, you now is on the 0. Once it gets to 1 million, what happens? He's going to start charging us. So I'm going to go back to the previous. So to avoid that. So that is how the scalability works. Everything can get into Lambda. All the data can get into Lambda. And Lambda scales. You have seen it. And how automatic it is. So let's go back to create a function. Let's say we create a function by hitting this, and we have the author from scratch. We have the container image, and we have use a blueprint. You know, in a place where you have to navigate through where others have gone, it's always good you follow lay down principles and write on the efforts of others to simplify your life. So that is why I want to say use blueprint. Okay, so there's a sample code already. So I say use blueprint, and hello world, the blueprint name is hello world, but let's take a look at which is best for us. If it is S3 object, we're going to be taking that. But let's move on. Let's see which will be most suitable for us. Okay. Most suitable for us. All right, let's take the hello world function that is on Python 3.7. And let's go down to the function name. All right. You give it a name, or you say demo lambda. Demo lambda. Yeah. What else again? Let's go downstairs. Now you can say you create in the execute role, you create a new role, or use an existing role, or create a new role from AWS policy template. Let's use basic Lambda permission. Create a new role with basic Lambda permission. So this is how it is. It has shown us all what we've done. So let's go down to create a function. Okay. It's creating. Okay, you can see that is our demo Lambda created. We may want to add trigger and also add destination. But now let's go down there and see the code. Codes can be tested. The Lambda function code can be tested. Let's see how it works. You create a new event. When you create a new event, you can test the functionality and see how it works. And also it can be monitored. Anytime you hear monitoring, think about CloudWatch, and CloudWatch is cascaded into the metrics and the CloudWatch log. All right. And now, if this is the monitoring, you want to monitor all the activities, what are you going to do? You want to be ensuring that the logs is either specified in certain time, maybe every 1 hour, 3 hours, if that's what you want. After every 12 hours, there should be a message about it. Okay. And if your SNS is integrated with it, a message will be sent to you. Okay. So now, for instance, I want to say every 5 minutes, I'm going to take it. So it's the same thing we did yesterday. So sad that lots of our students were not in class yesterday. So that is about how the monitoring works. Okay. These are the matrices. You see how it is. You see a dashboard of the matrices, the invocations, the durations, error count, and success rate. It gives you everything about it. So once it's been read, you're going to be getting information from all these ends, the asynchronous event drop, and so on and so forth. So let's get up and see. This is view CloudWatch log and view X-ray traces, view Lambda insight. This Lambda insight, once you hit it, it gives, it's not cheap, it's not free. It gives you a holistical view of everything about your Lambda. Okay. So, okay, all right. So that is on that. Now we come to configuration. Now in configuration, you may want to reconfigure further by creating a URL. All right, you see the Lambda has a way of being integrated with the VPC. So this is not connected to the VPC, but we can edit here to have it connected to the VPC. All right, so that is how it works. We have the default VPC, and it brings us down to the subnet. We pick our subnet that we want. I got a default subnet here, and okay, it's telling us that they're recommending that we choose at least 2 subnet for Lambda to run your function in a high availability node. Okay, so that is about that. That is about that. Now, if there's a way we can integrate the inbound rules, all right, and also an outbound rules for it. That is a security measure for what we have done. So we're going to go back to Lambda. All right, Lambda function. Let's say Lambda function 1. So that is that for Lambda. So I'm going to get in here and say what? Delete. All right. Delete. Okay. So that is all we have for today. Let's first of all stop the sharing, and we'll stop the recording.